Women are born with inherent value, but us men, we have to work hard to be able to live the life we want. Luckily for you, a bunch of men shoot themselves in the leg by leveling up in a lot of different areas, but not leveling up their style. In today's discussion, I will show you why taking care of your looks is like a secret weapon that no other man that's in competition with you possesses, how to choose which style you should adopt, and lastly, I will teach you how to improve your style in an easy and gradual manner. I am Stefan Dobresko and welcome back to the Gentlemen's Secret Show, where you learn the secrets of yesterday to become the gentleman of tomorrow. If you have any question or topic that you would like to discuss in a future episode, make sure to comment down, send us an email or DM us on Instagram at gentlemens.order. Now, on with the show. You may have heard people saying, stop caring what others think of you. Well, that's an absolutely horrible piece of advice, and you should only follow it if you want to get nowhere in this life. Some of you might have heard of the lab coat experiment. This was an experiment done at a very prestigious university in America, in which two different groups of people were given the same white lab coat. Half of them were told that it's a doctor's lab coat, whereas the other half were told that it's a painter's coat. What the studies have shown is that the people who thought they were wearing doctor's clothes outperformed the other group significantly. And what does this tell us? It basically tells us that it's all about psychology. The clothes you wear are all about the perception that you have about yourself and the perceptions that others have about you. And why is that? It's because clothes are like a uniform. Cooks have a uniform, policemen have a uniform, army men have a uniform, successful men have a uniform. And the uniform of the successful man is the suit. Now, you might be thinking, nowadays not many people wear suits anymore, so why should you still wear a suit? Well, that's because for the past 150 years, or even more, a suit was correlated with a successful man. And that's imprinted in our minds now. It's not something that we can change, and that's why when we see a guy walking down in a well-tailored suit, we will automatically think that he's more successful than everyone else. So let's break this psychological aspect into two different parts. First of all, let's think about how others perceive you. Now, when you're walking down the street, the others around you will perceive you as a more successful man, a more attractive man, a more confident man. And confident, what do I mean by confident? How can others perceive you as more confident by simply wearing a suit? Well, that's because of aspect number 2, which is your own psychology. You see, when you're wearing certain clothes, you will think differently about yourself. Let's take an extreme example. Say you're going on a date with a girl you found either in a bookstore, in a cafe shop, or maybe even on Tinder. It doesn't matter. Now, let's take two extreme examples. In the first one, you're showing up in a tank top, in shorts, you have unkempt hair, unbrushed teeth. In the second example, you're wearing a tuxedo. Now, I'm not saying that you should be wearing a tuxedo on a first date. Actually, maybe it's even better to wear the tank top. Who knows? Depends entirely on the date itself. But what I am saying is that those two different clothes are gonna vastly change the way you see yourself. Because in that first example, you might think about yourself that you're not that special. Maybe you think that you're just an average person. Your self-esteem is not that high. But if you are wearing a tuxedo, you will feel like James Bond. You will think you are James Bond. And the way you think about yourself influences the actions and the way that you speak. And yes, it might even be better to be a little bit delusional about this. After all, with confidence, it's fake it until you make it. So what does this all have to do with caring what others think about you? Why should you care about what others think of you? Well, this all comes down to prehistoric times, when men used to live in caves. Back then, everyone was part of a group. They were part of a tribe. And if the people in your tribe were not accepting of you, if they thought lower of you, if they thought less of you, then you would be cast out. You would die alone. That's why we as humans have evolved to care what those around us think of us. And this has not changed today. If you are an outcast, if you don't know how to behave in society, if you don't know how to look in a society, you will be an outcast. You will be socially inept and you will not be able to make acquaintances and connections that easily. And for those of you saying that caring what others think makes you anxious, that's because you're caring about the totally wrong things. Let me present to you Stoicism. What Stoicism teaches us is that there's two types of thought that we could have. There's those things that we can influence and those that we can't. You should never concern yourself with how others think of you based on stuff you cannot influence. For example, if you're talking and you're saying something that might offend them, well, if you took all precaution to be polite, to be courteous, to be a gentleman, then the fact that they are offended is entirely their fault and you should not be concerned about it. You should only be concerned about your actions, not how those around you respond. If I wear a suit outside, I know that some might react negatively. I receive negative comments all the time, I'm used to it. But I know that I'm doing my best to look like a gentleman, and that's all that matters. So now that you know that caring what others think is not necessarily bad, depending on how you look at it, you should also realize that you need to improve yourself. But that's the good part, because glowing up is easy actually. Now, the modern gentleman is both emotionally stable as well as masculine. Those are two things you must master. So how do you do that? Well, you do that with the 4 pillars of self-improvement. This is something I came up with, and if it already exists, please be aware that I arrived at the idea independently.
Direct marketing. I thought of that. Turned out it already existed, but I arrived at it independently.
First, we have the inner mind, and we develop that through meditation, through gratitude, through stoicism. This is how we think about things, and is the first thing you should start improving. Then we have the outer mind, which comprises of skills, social skills, knowledge, fine taste, everything that can be cultivated. So, you do this by reading self-improvement books. You do this by reading fiction books, classic literature, watching old movies, listening to more elevated music. This is how you improve your outer mind. Then we have our inner body. And this is what most people on self-improvement improve. This is your working out, your diet. This is becoming physically attractive. But then we also have the outer body. And you do that through grooming, you do that through body language and through your style. And working on your outer body is not actually that difficult. Let me break it down. First of all, you have grooming. And this is extremely simple. All you have to do is brush your teeth twice a day. Use a deodorant stick. And yes, I mean stick, not spray. Do not use a deodorant spray. Those things are toxic. Trim your beard or shave it off completely if you don't want to have a beard or stubble. Comb your hair every single day and shower every single day. This is the bare minimum that every man should do. The next step up would be stuff like taking care of your skin, using SPF every single day. This is the next step, but the least you should do is the bare minimum. Next, we have body language. And scientists have actually proven that most communication happens non-verbally. So, the way that you speak rather than your words, and the way that your body moves, is more important than the words you actually use. When it comes to body language, you should always have a dominant body language. And you do that by taking up space in a room. And this does not mean that if you're on a bus, you should just lay over 3 different seats. No. Be respectful, but if you're sitting down in a chair, for example, at a restaurant, you can drape over that chair. You see it all the time in Mad Men. That is what I mean. Also, do not fidget. A lot of men, especially when they're nervous, have the tendency to fidget with their nails, or with their fingers, or with their hands, with their feet. You see this all the time. This is a sign of nervousness. And if you want to appear more confident, if you want to appear like a Thomas Shelby or a Don Draper, you need to be unreactive. You need to be still. When it comes to style, this can be broken down into 3 different categories. The first is style education. You need to know what mistakes to avoid and what style rules to pay attention to. Next up, you have finding your style. There's so many different styles out there that you can choose from. Stuff like preppy, stuff like business casual, smart casual, business, cowboy look if that's your thing.
You think on that, boy?
But you need to find your own particular style. And the next and last category is improving your style. Have you heard of rockabilly style? What about normcore or soft boy? Well, if you're a normal human being like me, you probably haven't. But I found this blog article online detailing the 30 best men's styles in 2024. And I thought I would go over it with you and give you my honest reactions and thoughts. Now, I have scrolled through it a bit, and it gets crazier and crazier the deeper you go. Kind of like an iceberg. So stick around to see how the Titanic sinks.
It started dumb, and it just kept getting dumber and dumber.
and just dumber. And then I thought, well, it's as dumb as it could possibly be. And it got dumber. It kept going.
You know, it took me about 10 years to finally find my style, and it was a very ugly process. When I was about 13 and I started high school and I first started trying to impress girls, I would wear jeans every single day with t-shirts and with hoodies. It was an awful, awful look. And of course, girls were not taking me seriously back then. I mean, I looked like an overgrown 10-year-old boy.
Brother, what's that?
And finding your style is an incredibly important process if you want to be taken seriously by those around you and if you want to become more attractive to the girls that you meet every single day. First of all, we have casual style, and this is just an absolutely awful one. It literally screams zero effort. Everyone around you on the street, 99%, do you want to be part of the 99%? The 99% wears casual style. And it's so stupid because it's so easy to improve your casual style. Look, the second item on this list is smart casual. And going from casual to smart casual is literally one of the easiest steps you can take. I detail it more in this video if you want to check it out. You know, some jeans, a leather jacket, maybe a polo shirt every now and then. How can you not love smart casual? The next step up is business casual, of course. Again, core style that everyone should attempt. Nothing screams more grown up than a button-down shirt. And of course, very predictably, we have business formal next. We're adding ties to the mix now. If you have a job, if you have an office job, I know business formal is not necessarily required, but I would say it's still recommended. Cocktail attire. When it comes to cocktail attire, it's a bit of a more divisive subject because cocktail attire is not really that well defined. I actually really agree with what they're saying here in this article, weirdly enough, because cocktail attire is pretty similar to business formal style, but it's about breaking the rules a little bit. It's about mixing and matching different items. It's about trying something that you would not normally try to the office. But what I'm saying with the fact that it's a bit more of a divisive style is that it's not very well outlined. No one really knows what cocktail attire means. It's basically somewhere between business, formal, and casual. Where exactly, no one knows. Now with this next one, I definitely disagree. Semi-formal is a term you might see thrown around every now and then. It's a totally meaningless term. Here it's described as a mix between cocktail and black tie. Do not combine cocktail and black tie. If you're wearing black tie, it should be 100% black tie. So you should not be wearing a black tie outfit, a tuxedo, with a normal tie, for example. That's a fashion faux pas.
Stop it. Get some help.
That's why this doesn't make sense. Semi-formal historically has been black tie. That's what semi-formal means. And we have black tie. Obviously, black tie and semi-formal, historically speaking at least, have been the same thing. And you cannot go wrong with this one. Black tie is such a menswear classic, and in my personal opinion, you cannot look better as a man than you do in a tuxedo, especially if you're in shape. White tie. Obviously, white tie had to be on this list, but I don't think it's something the majority of us will ever get to experience, especially if you're not a very VIP person or if you're not very into men's style. We've started with a clown world, apparently. Athleisure. Name me where you have ever seen a man and taken him seriously wearing athleisure outside of the gym. You haven't. Athleisure basically screams, I'm not sure who said it, if I find it I'm gonna post it right here, but athleisure basically screams that you have given up on life. It's the total opposite of a suit, and that's why I hate, by the way, that's why I hate when men wear suits with sneakers. But athleisure basically screams no effort. You just got up in the morning, you went to the gym, you did not even go take a shower, you went straight to the job. Avoid it at all costs. Preppy, on the other hand, is an amazing style and one of my favorites. And preppy has at its base sweaters. They're not really mentioning sweaters in this article, but it's definitely at the forefront. Yes, yes, and definitely yes. This is such a roller coaster. Skater style. Do you want to look like a 13-year-old boy? Is that the look you want to achieve? If yes, I don't know why you're watching this video. If no, we can move on. If you want to get a high quality woman, I don't know where you're going to be able to find a high quality woman who wants a man dressed in skater style, especially if you're over the age of 15. No, I'm not even sure what this is. There you have it, literally the second sentence. Bland and average looking clothing. Do you want to look bland and average looking? Then why would you ever wear normcore? That gets like a -5 out of 10 for me. Hip hop. Come on. Do you want people to take you seriously or not? Do not wear hip hop clothes. If you're a rapper, sure, go ahead. If you live in Compton, that might be one of your best bets. But if you live in Europe, for example, or in Asia, or in just don't. Just don't. Emo. Now, if you're someone who wears this style, then health to you, my friend. But if you're someone who wants to appear masculine and dominant, because that's what this whole video is about, being masculine and dominant, emo is not the style for you. And we might have come to the worst of the worst with this one. Soft boy style. Just think about the name, soft boy. Do you want to be a soft boy? Look into my eyes. Do you want to be a soft boy? I'm just gonna pass over this one because it's pretty much the same as soft boy. E-boy. Now the biker one, controversially, I'm not against. If you are a biker especially, a leather jacket would look amazing on you. I have seen a very, very nice outfit lately. If I find it, I'm gonna post it right here. Look, a leather jacket looks amazing on a man, especially when combined with maybe a black t-shirt and some jeans, especially if they're regular jeans, not skinny. I cannot trash this one. Go for it.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
But I see here that they said printed t-shirt, do not wear a printed t-shirt. Just wear a solid t-shirt if you're going for this look. Punk, I think it's more of like an extreme attention-seeking form of the goth look. So I would also steer clear of this one. Okay, look, if you're trying to emulate James Dean or Elvis Presley, sure, go for the rockabilly style. But do not dress like this guy. Never dress like this guy. I don't even know what this is. Known for its outrageous patterns and over-the-top hair. Think about the things you're missing from your life. Think about the things you're missing from your personality on your way of self-improvement. Are outrageous patterns and over-the-top hair the thing that's missing from your life? I thought so. Look, I can't even tell the difference between them. Indie.
Indiana. Indiana.
This is once again one I've never heard of. Bohemian aesthetic. Linen shirts and jeans in light shades. Well, that's your problem right there. Don't wear jeans in light shades. If you want to go for jeans, which I don't often do, but when I do, go for dark wash jeans. Don't go for light jeans. Light jeans simply don't look as good on you. They don't look as masculine, man. I like the cowboy one. You can definitely dress as a cowboy, especially if you live in Texas. All power to you, man. Dress as a cowboy. It's a masculine style. It's not very formal. It's not my cup of tea. But if I were in Texas, I would probably dress as a cowboy as well. So, yeehaw. geek. Now, I know that lately being a geek has become more of a popular thing than it was during my time. I still don't get why you would want to dress like Sheldon Cooper.
As I've explained repeatedly, unlike you, I don't need validation from lesser minds. No offense.
But if you want to dress like Sheldon Cooper, go ahead. I don't know why you're watching this video. Now, I cannot really trash cottagecore, because I feel like it's kind of a bit similar to maybe the cowboy look, but without the cowboy hats. It's basically the farm look, the cottage look. For a more casual type of outfit, I think something like this could work. Now, monochrome is totally dumb. I'm sorry whoever wrote this article, but monochrome is not a style. Any of the styles that I have mentioned so far in this video can be monochrome. This just doesn't make sense. For example, you can wear an all black suit, a black shirt, and a black tie. Never do this, by the way, but you can, and it would be monochrome. This is not a style. Well, I was thinking we would not get to see Dark Academia, but I'm very glad we did. I feel like it's a bit similar to Preppy, but it's dark, obviously. I'm a very big fan of it, especially when September, October, November come around. I think it's one of the most attractive things you can wear, especially as a young man. And the lumberjack one, again, I cannot really trash on this one that much because I know a lot of women do find the lumberjack look attractive. Not something I would personally wear, but it's definitely not a big red flag like a bunch of the styles in this article were. Hey, you there! If you've enjoyed this video so far, why not take a minute to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. And let me know down in the comments below, if you had to choose one style out of all the ones I have mentioned so far, if you had to choose one style and wear it every single day for the rest of your life, which would it be? Almost everything in this life can be considered a skill. And skills are acquired with our most valuable resource, time. The skills that the man prioritizes building will say a lot about who he is. I mean, be honest with yourself. Would you think more highly of a man dressed like Mark Zuckerberg or like Vito Corleone? Now, someone like Mark Zuckerberg might be a more valuable man than someone dressed like Vito Corleone. But the way you present yourself is extremely important to how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. That's why putting some skill points into your style column is extremely important. And when I started doing this, I did it all wrong. I still remember the first day of school when I started improving my style. I went with my parents to the mall the day before and I came to school wearing these white shorts and this polo in white and navy stripes. I looked like a sailor and like a dork. And that's because I tried going from 10 to 100 overnight without knowing what I was actually doing and without letting people adjust to my changes. Let's say you're starting off in high school. Let's say you're in high school right now. And if you're not, if you're in your 20s, maybe even 30s, that's totally fine. You can still do this. But for the sake of the argument, I'm going to assume that you're in high school right now. The first steps you should take should be gradual. You don't want your classmates to think you're trying too hard by changing your style overnight. No, you want it to be gradual. And how do you do that? You do that by starting to dress in a more smart casual type of way. Smart casual is extremely easy to achieve. So what does your typical casual outfit look like that all of your friends and coworkers or colleagues are wearing? Well, it's jeans or sweatpants, a graphic t-shirt, and some sneakers, usually. Usually that's gonna be your outfit. Maybe even a hoodie on top. Well, if you want to achieve a smart casual outfit, all you have to do is upgrade 2 of those 4 items. That's it. It's that simple. And what do I mean by upgrade? Well, these are the essential pieces you should have in a smart casual wardrobe. Instead of t-shirts that are with graphics or band tees, how about going with solid color t-shirts? Black, maybe white, maybe even go for a polo. I would say a button-down shirt is too formal for this step, but a polo should work well, especially on your after-school activities or weekend activities. Instead of a hoodie, how about you wear a leather jacket? It's not out of the ordinary for someone to wear a leather jacket to high school, right? Instead of sneakers, why not wear leather sneakers? They're still sneakers, but they're a bit more formal. That's what I'm talking about. Just bring it up a notch, just a little bit. Instead of sweatpants, wear jeans, or instead of jeans, wear chinos. Those are all possible and good options. Just choose 2 smart casual items, combine them with 2 casual items, and you're gonna create a smart casual outfit. For the next step, let's say you're in college now. By upgrading your style to business casual next, you're gonna show off a level of maturity that not a lot of your coworkers or classmates have. Keep in mind that it's always better to be overdressed than to be underdressed. Because if you're the most underdressed person in a room, you're gonna be less confident. Meanwhile, if you're just 1 to 2 points more overdressed than everyone else, you're gonna be more confident than them. I remember when I was on a high school trip with my class and we went to this fancy restaurant and I was the only one wearing a blazer. I was feeling like I'm the leader of the group. And that's how you should be feeling too if you're wearing business casual in college. For business casual, the essential pieces are a blazer or a sports coat. You can even go for a sports coat. Chinos, maybe even trousers. And you can also try loafers and the button down. Yes, if you have reached the age of 20 years old, you should start wearing button-down shirts. You're not a kid anymore. Next up, let's say that you're about to finish college. You're in your final years. Or maybe you're working on your master's or on your PhD. If this is you, you should start experimenting a bit. It's not time yet to go to the next step, but you should start experimenting by trying out different styles such as preppy, dark academia, or old money. The essential pieces for those styles are mostly sweaters, loafers, blazers, ties. It's items that you should start adding to your wardrobe. Finally, if you have graduated college and if you have entered the workforce, you have a job now, you have become a man. And you need to start looking like a man. I work in software development. And along my career, I have met plenty of people. People who all dressed the same. If you put a bit more effort into your appearance, you're gonna be perceived a lot better by those around you. And your chances of success in this life are going to skyrocket. So how do you look like a man? Well, first, I want you to look back where you started. I want you to see the progress you have made. You have come such a long way from wearing t-shirts and jeans and hoodies and sneakers every single day to now dressing like a proper adult. The next step is to buy your first suit. And if you want a full guide on what you should know when buying your first suit, check this video out. When buying your first suit and reaching this point in your life, it's also important to improve other aspects of your life. Start going to the gym. Start eating with a diet. Start reading books and improving your mind. Meditating, gratitude journaling, stoicism, those are all very important things.
These are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life.
Because an overweight, unintelligent, unfunny, and unmasculine man will look 1,000,000 times worse in a suit than a muscular, intelligent, funny, charismatic, learned man wearing a simple t-shirt. But a man who has all those attributes and wears a suit is going to be unbeatable. Suits should really be pieces that you buy and continue using for 10, 20, maybe even 30 years. And in order to do that, you really need to know what you're doing before buying your suit. To learn more about that, check out last week's video in which we have discussed the full guides to buying your first suit. 10 suit mistakes you should never make if you want to look good while wearing a suit. Because there are men who look awful while wearing one. And also how to pair your suit with other items and create amazing, attractive outfits. This podcast was brought to you by the Gentlemen's Order.